Welcome to the Mindfully Gay podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Jerry. Today we're joined by Landon and Kevin, the founders of Morningwood, a daytime, sex-positive event that's reshaping how gay men connect, celebrate, and build community.
Together, we explore how mindfulness, authenticity, and inclusion can transform social spaces, helping men connect through conversation, consent, and joy.
Whether you're seeking community, friendship, or a fresh way to experience queer connection, this episode is for you. Let's get started.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Mindfully Gay podcast. I am John, and over there is
Jerry.
There's Jerry over there, and you can see if you're watching us, we've got two other folks with us. We have guests today, if you're listening. Two guests, in fact, and to my left, directly next to me, we have Landon.
Hello.
And next to Jerry over there is Kevin.
Hello.
And these two gentlemen actually are the creators, founders, and hosts of Morningwood. So we've been talking about Morningwood. If you listen to one of our previous podcasts about body image, we did talk about Landon and Kevin and Morningwood and this really interesting social group and activity that they've put together. And so we brought them onto the show so they can talk about that, but also talk about, kind of their inspiration around Morningwood and what it's doing for our community. So welcome, you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes.
They showed up even after we talked about them.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go listen to this podcast. I haven't heard the whole thing yet.
Well, I think Jerry first heard about Morningwood and said, John, have you seen this? I'm like, no, what is this? I got curious, was on Instagram, and it's at Morningwood SLC, is that correct?
It's actually Morningwood Party.
At Morningwood Party on Instagram. And so Jerry was like, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Like, no. So we got very curious. And so we got in contact with the guys and met and actually went to one of their activities. And then we had them over for lunch one day and got into a wonderful conversation, which really inspired that conversation we had about body image. But before we get into all of that, let me have Kevin and Landon introduce themselves and talk about, your vision, how Morningwood got started, and we'll kind of go from there.
Awesome.
Alrighty. Let's go first.
Kevin's the bishop of his ward, right?
Oh, God. Yeah.
So Kevin, why don't you start?
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name's Kevin. I'm married to my husband now of 3 years. We've been together for 7. We have 4 kids from my previous marriage. And we live here in Salt Lake City. And I don't know, how did Morningwood get started?
Well, I'm Kevin's barber. I have a barber shop, Crown a Salon. And so not only am I friends with Kevin, but we're for years now. I'm his barber. So we
barber/therapist. Yes, he's always so fun to talk to.
And Kevin brought it up to me one day as I was cutting his hair. He said, "What about this idea?"
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of brought it up as a joke.
Well, because I'm an introvert, I also have ADHD, and my social battery is best in the morning. And by the time the evening comes around and my husband wants to go out and party, I'm tired. And I don't know if it's because I'm in my 40s now or what, but it's like I have to have like a cup of coffee, several Red Bulls, and probably an Adderall around 6 o'clock in order for me to be up until midnight, 1 in the morning to enjoy myself. It takes a lot of substances to get there, it feels like. And one time we went to this party, which is where it's a really late night, almost like sex party. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't enjoy myself because I by the time I got there, I was tired. I couldn't enjoy this. It was like this dark space with some red lighting, and it just didn't feel conducive to connection. It's where I could connect with my community.
So everyone's in this dark room having a good time, and you're curled up in the corner.
I'm just like
with the blanket and a pillow. Yeah, I'll just take a nap over here.
I'm just gonna go outside and enjoy the patio. I don't know.
Yeah, more often than not, at any parties we go to, Kevin and I end up in a corner going, "Why?" We're just talking and hanging out and being like, "Wait, everyone else having fun around us, right? And on paper, we're like, we should have the most fun because we think we're the most fun. So,
and don't get me wrong, I love the nightlife and I appreciate it. I was super impressed with their event, but it just wasn't really my vibe. So the next day, I go to talk to Landon. He's cutting my hair, and I was like, what if we did something similar, but with more of a morning vibe that was really positive and bright and sunny and
allowed for connection.
Yeah.
That was a big piece of it.
Something that was a little quieter, but allowed us to talk to each other without competing with loud music, and then have an opportunity to go inside and play if we wanted to. Yeah, like what would this look like? So we just, over several haircuts, we kind of discussed it.
And it really did feel kind of like a joke, at least to me, right? I mean, even like the name Morningwood, right? It was like a joke. So we thought we talked about this. We thought maybe 20 of our friends were like, oh, we have friends. 20 of them will come and hang out with us in the morning. And after even a private Instagram, it wasn't even like we publicized. And all of a sudden we had 100 guys saying, we want to come to your first thing. And we were like, oh, this is bigger than us. We didn't realize.
Wow.
It was at my Airbnb in downtown Salt Lake, which is kind of a small house, a small backyard. I think the capacity is maybe 40 men. Oh. I didn't think we'd reach 40, but next thing we know, we have 80 to 100 guys that are RSVPing, and so we had to add a second day, and suddenly it took off, and it was clear that there were other men in our area that wanted this.
And 5 months later, here we are.
Yeah, so it's brand new.
It's brand new.
It's only been around for 5 months, and we didn't think we'd go this long.
Can I just interject something here? I mean, I think the sexual piece is probably what intrigues people, but at least my experience was there was a huge opportunity to socialize without music banging in your ear. It's probably one of the few events I went to where people who didn't know each other were able to kind of walk up and say, hi, I'm Jerry.
Yes.
Like there was some communication happening, and there were options. Of course, this was in the summertime, but I could be outside and socializing, or I could be inside enjoying myself.
Yeah, and socializing. It's also crazy to me how much of we have a space for just socializing and pretty PG, and then we have a space that's a lot more sexual, but also how much communication now, because of that outside piece, happens there, right? And I think that was our goal, was we wanted men to connect of all different kinds of men to connect in all of the ways that men can connect. So whether that's, just hanging out, talking, getting to know each other, all the way through this more fun sexual stuff.
Because I found that previously it was difficult for me to be with my community and to connect with them and have meaningful conversations at night, because the environment just doesn't allow for it.
Right.
It's fun. I still love going. It's still a great time. But I wanted to create a space where I could socialize with my friends and meet new people, meet new guys in the area. And so we wanted, basically how Morningwood is set up is you arrive at the entry and you are given a bag, or you bring a bag of your own, and you put your belongings in there, and you're invited to dress in a caftan or a robe or a Speedo, whatever you're comfortable with. And you enter this space without your cell phone, because cell phones are banned inside Morningwood.
Yeah, they have to stay up.
And people can enjoy getting into the pool, or just lounging on some comfortable furniture, grabbing a mimosa. And so imagine this backyard where all these men are dressed in caftans and robes and whatnot, and they're just drinking their mimosas and talking to each other, and they're kind of forced to, because they don't have their cell phone to distract them.
And that's everyone's favorite piece. It's everyone's most scary piece at the beginning for them, right? A lot of the guys are like, I hate that piece, and then as they are leaving, they're all like, oh, it was the best having to be disconnected, and I had to talk to people, and people felt willing to talk to me, and it's good.
Yeah.
When you talk about connection, how would you define connection, especially in our community, and how Morningwood is fulfilling that compared to what's kind of typical in the gay community as far as, connecting, air quotes, at a club or a bar or something at nighttime. So how are you filling that gap, and how would you define community or connection?
Well, I think my goal was that you could go to this space and have conversations, like meaningful conversations, and connect. And the thing about gay men is we connect in a lot of different ways, whether it's talking, whether it's socially or physically. Sex is a big part of our culture, and so I wanted to just create opportunities to connect in many different forms. And I think that's what we've accomplished with Morningwood. And I think guys who go there, they realize that I think the sex part piece of it kind of entices them. It kind of is like, oh, I'm so curious. I want to get there. But then they arrive and they realize it's way more social than anything else, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we have guys that never even breach into like the sexual spaces, and they leave having, they've told me this, they leave having an amazing time, saying this was so great, and they come back and they really enjoy themselves. And there's times I've never even breached into that space during an event, and I think it's so great. And because what's connecting is, we invite men, so that's kind of our only barrier, I guess. But it's all different ages, all different body types, all different ethnicities and races, and so we have a community, and we have our gay community, and there's so many. You guys have talked about this on your podcast. There's so many like holes in this community, right? Like this is who I am. This is how I am. And it's okay to bridge that and say like, well, let's all come together and we all have different experiences. Let's talk. We're way more the same than we are different. So it's kind of nice to be able to sit with people from all walks of life and say, let's have a conversation.
Yeah. One thing that I experienced, which I thought was really, really key, because I know I was a little nervous in going, just what is this all about and what's it going to look like and feel like, right? And I think maybe some of the other gentlemen that arrived had a similar kind of feel. But what you have there, and I think you've got it on a rotating basis, you've got several volunteers. I call them barkers, where they kind of stand in the kind of the midst of things, and as people kind of come close to them, they'll say, "Oh, hey, hi, come here. What's your name?" And get their name. "Hey, I'm Mike," and Mike will then introduce Mike to the other guys who just happen to be standing there.
Michael was extraordinarily talented when I was there, because he was literally meeting people. It's like, "Oh, your name is John. John, what do you do?"
Yes.
"Oh, John, this is Landon. Landon, this is John. John does this." And he was quite the master.
He was really, really good. And
Michael's amazing.
Yes. And which I think helped, at least it helped me, because I may not go up and say, "Hi, I'm John," and just kind of introduce myself. Maybe other guys may not do that as well. But here was someone who helped kind of thread all of that together. As he called people over, or someone that was in his vicinity, he would say, "Oh, hey, come here," and connect people. I thought that was a really, really nice piece to the puzzle of it all. And I think, at least for me, I felt more comfortable, and I met some new people.
Yeah. I think it's an important part. We've played around having guys do that and then not having guys do that, and it's much better having guys do that. It's such a lost art almost in our world of like, how do we talk to people? How do we introduce ourselves to people? And we all want to reach out to people, and then it's like, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Well, at Morningwood, we have set the expectation that everyone contributes to this event, whether they're paying a contribution to get in,
right,
to help support how much this event costs, or volunteer. And we could not do this without our volunteers.
Yeah, they're amazing.
And part of those volunteers, whether it's setting up or breaking down or like helping with the brunch or serving drinks at the bar, we have what we call social hosts.
Yes.
And it's these guys who are like, they're really talented at
they're good
starting conversations and helping people feel welcome. And I think they are a valuable asset to this event, because it helps guys feel more comfortable. They reach out to those who are kind of on the margins, who are a little shy, and especially how they don't know what to do without their cell phones. And so it's really great to have them there, and I think it adds a lot to the event.
It does add a lot.
So I think the thing that caught my attention first and foremost. I mean, if you look at social media, we talked about this in the podcast, I start to wonder if my friends own shirts, because right, everyone's shirtless, everyone's ripped, everyone's got 8 6-packs, and the social consequence of that kind of marketing, if you will, is there's a lot of guys who don't feel like they're qualified to be part of the gay community, if you will, right? They don't measure up, and we even hear that with our retreats, like people just aren't. Well, we did a lot of advertising where people were wearing shirts. It was a very hot day, and we had a couple of people say, "Can I wear a shirt at your event?"
Yeah.
So it's interesting the assumptions that people make. But what caught my attention was it was very clear that you were deliberately reflecting a diversity in the community, right? I saw young guys, older guys, fit guys, bears, feminine guys. I mean, it was just nice to see a reflection of community that wasn't about abs and pecs.
Yeah.
Well, I've been to a number of circuit parties around the country, around the world, and there are situations where I don't feel comfortable because I don't have abs. I eat carbs, for Christ's sake, and so it's like
They're there.
They're just in the cooler right now.
They're in the cooler.
Well, I was like, there's two purposes in this. One is I actually think all men have something to contribute, and they're all beautiful, and they all add to our community, and it reflects on who we are here in Utah. And the other purpose is actually a marketing tactic, because I post whoever wants to be seen, no matter your body type, and it's because there are a lot more average men than there are chiseled Instagays. Okay, so
absolutely.
There's a lot more of us than there are of them.
Yeah,
and
true.
What I'm trying to say is all are welcome, even the chiseled, up to the bears, everyone. It's a collection of men who I think are all incredible, and I want them at my party. I want to exist with them. I want to be their friends, and I find them.
So what I saw at the event though was just that. I saw bears working it just as much as the muscled guys, and I thought, that's so relieving. Right. To just something about the advertising, I think, set a template for people to just kind of show up and be their sensual, organic self. I mean, I feel like that's, maybe there's more to it than what I've seen on Instagram, but I just think that set a template. And I think that's probably why it's become such a popular event, is anyone who looks at your postings think, oh, this might be a place for me.
Right, right. Yeah, I have to agree. When you look at their posts, it's like you said, it's everyday people. It's real people that are being, they're on display there, that are, kind of telling about, talking about themselves. And this is what people actually look like. And so if you come to this event, this is who you will see. You will fit in. So you are welcome. So please join us. That's what I get from looking at those posts. Yeah. And it's not, like you said, the Instigay, where it's just, the cookie cutter, chiseled thing we see. They look like AI images. I don't know, but real people.
Well, I think the reason we don't have cell phones in Morningwood is because we don't want people taking pictures. We want people to feel a sense of anonymity, as well as safety and security while they're at the event, to be their true authentic selves.
Right.
But that creates a challenge for someone like me, who is a marketing and communications professional. It's like, how do I market this event if I'm not going to allow photography at the event? Because all these other parties you see around the country, you see the videos of everyone at the club having fun.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want to do that because I want the guys here to feel comfortable. And so I thought, what if I just start sharing whoever's following? Like, just offer them an opportunity to be seen. And I want all types of different bodies, ethnicities, ages, to be included. In addition, I decided to start a campaign with Morningwood models, which is just everyday regular guys,
right,
of different body types. So we
we come to our event.
Yeah, they come to our event, and so I took them out to the Salt Flats, and I dressed them all up in pink speedos and jock straps and robes and stuff. And I really wanted to reflect who we are as a community. And then after I started sharing all of these video clips that people were enjoying, I had all these people reach out and be like, I want to be a Morningwood model. I want to do this, you know, and I want to make all men feel gorgeous, you know, and feel desired. And so I love promoting that body positivity.
Well, and I think it's important, right? Like, we have guys, some of our really good friends, right, are these beautiful humans with, I don't think they've ever touched a carb in their life kind of guys, right? And they're amazing and wonderful, and they come to our events.
Yeah.
And the point is to have them be there and be comfortable, and me and my husband with our dad bods come and be comfortable, and have our friend who's a bear come and be comfortable, and also just be like, there's nothing wrong. All these other events seem so segregated. There's, you know, a whole bear event. There's a whole, the circuit party gay event, and they're so segregated, and we were trying to break through that.
Is there a demographic that you feel like has been slow to respond?
Ooh. I mean, the hardest part of getting someone comfortable to be seen is an older demographic, but they're there. They come to our parties. They just don't, right? As far as like our models go, as far as guys who are like, hey, I want to be featured. The hardest, if you're talking about who wants to be featured, the hardest demographic is older guys, who I just think are all so sexy. So if you're older, please come and model for me.
But like you said, they are showing up at the events,
and they come into our events, yes. And there's also, you know, lots of things to take into account. The world was different, and they still probably carry some of that with them from when they were 20 and 30, right?
Yeah.
As far as who's slower coming to our events, not really. I mean, our average and our median age is 37, and we probably have guys like our biggest age span is 33 to about 53, and it's really like the guys in their 20s, but it's okay. I think guys in 20s have a lot more spaces already.
Yeah.
But they're still there too. A lot of guys in their 20s are also there.
So I'll tell you the other, and I'm just saying this for our listeners, is I think, right, the appeal is I think one of the appeals is kind of the sex positive environment. But one of the reasons, again, I think this gets promoted in the advertisement, and I saw it at the event that I went to, is, and one reason I said, John, we need to talk to them, because like, we're kind of like body, mind, spirit. That's kind of where we focus our retreat. In fact, we even are very intentional about, let's put sexuality, flirting, cruising on the shelf. We use the analogy of Elf on the Shelf.
Okay.
We know it's there, but let's give priority to like health and spirituality and emotionality kind of stuff. And what I liked about your event is, I think, in a very sex positive, it includes the sexuality piece, but not at the exclusion of social and human connections. Like, I imagine as I was watching people, I thought, I wonder how many people will get like a date from this experience. Yeah. Like, wow, I really had a good time with you. Let's go do dinner or something. And because I can tell you as a therapist, a lot of people feel very isolated. They don't know where to find reliable dates. And I think when you meet at a club, it's hard to have an in-depth conversation or even get to know someone. But at the event that I went to, I mean, I met several people that I didn't know and felt kind of like this connection and this friendliness that I could see going beyond the event.
Yeah, so I think we have got some like twofold answer here, which one is we do have, because guys don't have their cell phones, we do have like pens and papers throughout of like, so you can write your information down and give it to someone if you connect, which people are doing, which is awesome. But I think we've talked a lot about this. We have to kind of put the sex piece on a shelf as well and say like, we don't have to focus on that in our marketing, in our conversations, and people know it's there. And if we focus too much on that, it becomes just another circuit party. It becomes just another, and that's not what we're trying to do. And it actually, this last weekend at the bar, I finally saw kind of what you're talking about, where Kevin and I went out, and a bunch of our friends, our husbands, and all of a sudden we looked around at one point, and one of our friends commented, they're like, look at this Morningwood crew. And everyone around us were people that had been at a Morningwood, and they were all just talking and getting along and making actual connections. And that wouldn't have happened if we were just at a bar, at a club, right? And this last Morningwood we were ending, and a whole bunch of guys were like, hey, we're going to brunch. Who's coming with us? Hey, we have brunch plans. Do you want to come? Right. And they were taking guys with them to say, let's go and continue a conversation. It wasn't the 2 a.m. after a club, hey, come back to my place. It was, let's go have brunch. Yeah. That's a different vibe. It's really cool to watch. It's taken us 5 months to get there, but that was our goal, I think, from the beginning.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's an excellent trajectory.
Yeah.
But the other piece I was going to mention, and maybe you can, I notice on your social media, you're adding, like, I think there was a game night. And I know that you're working a relationship to, used to be
UAF
Legacy Health, right? So it looks like you're starting to create opportunities outside of the actual Morningwood event.
Well, I think the reason we decided to partner with the Utah AIDS Foundation Legacy Health is because we are facilitating a party where men can engage in sexual activity. We need to do this responsibly, and we need to encourage people to get tested regularly, to know their status, to communicate and be honest about their status, and to encourage sex positivity as well as sexual health, so that we can all play safely without spreading, diseases. And so it's important that we put an emphasis on that and educate men about medications, PrEP, Doxy, and encourage not just sex positivity and body positivity, but encourage making good decisions about your health. So that's why we decided to have a game night once a month, a couple weeks before each event, to give men a time to get tested and treated so they can come to Morningwood and enjoy it.
Because the game night is hosted at UAF Legacy Healthcare Building. They've been amazing partners, and so they've got this beautiful space. They let us come in and they have a game night, and while guys are hanging out and talking and having a game night and connecting, they can go get tested, which is kind of the best of both worlds. And again, there's no sexual space in there at all. It's really just connecting, community. Come have a game. It's community. And so, we have guys where even the thought of reaching into the Morningwood space, even the connection PG space is a little much, but a couple guys that came to the game night, and I had never seen them at a Morningwood, and I asked them, and they're like, oh, we haven't been yet, but we wanted to come to this. And I was like, great, welcome, So we've done that. We also have, our goal is to continue this outward and have retreats and have coffee meetups and we really are trying to get our community to just connect and talk and get back to what is it like to be in person with each other.
Yes.
When the sun is out.
Right? Yeah, when the sun is out.
Hey fellas, it's Landon and Kevin from Morningwood. If you're waking up a little energized, you're not alone.
Morningwood is the daytime event for queer men who like their connections warm, their conversations stimulating, and their socializing up and rising.
No phones, no pressure, just men relaxing, flirting, and enjoying each other. In the sunshine, where everything looks a little bigger, brighter.
Whether you're a top, bottom, side flip, switch, or just here for the view, you'll fit right in. Consent is sexy, bodies are welcome, and judgment is strictly out of bounds.
And soon, we're taking the show on the road. Morningwood Adventures may be popping up in Palm Springs, P-Town, and Puerto Vallarta. So keep your eyes and your options open.
Follow us at Morningwood Party and let the morning rise. And now, back to the podcast.
Well, but you also brought up a mind, this is Mindfully Gay, and you're talking about wellness many times. And so there is a wellness piece to Morningwood, believe it or not. Oh, yeah. And we haven't really set the stage of what it's like inside. So I would say in a typical sex party, it's dark, it's sweaty, it's loud, and it's overstimulating. And as someone who has ADHD, in those environments, I'm overstimulated, I'm overwhelmed, like my senses are going crazy. And so when you walk into the house at Morningwood, what you'll find are massage tables. You'll find beds with clean sheets. You'll be hearing spa music. And so the environment is really calming, which allows someone like me to be a little bit more focused on connecting with others and feeling relaxed and at ease.
Yes, and I'll just add to that, just from being a participant. Yeah, just this nice open area. They have massage tables, couches and chairs so people can continue to socialize inside as well. And then a whole buffet, so you can just, kind of stand around in the kitchen and nibble and talk and continue that socialization. And yes, there's the bedrooms that people can go to so I think the thought process in all that you're doing is so carefully constructed. It feels like, and I see that, having gone to some of the events, that so much thoughtfulness has been put into this whole idea with this, I think that foundation of connecting, reconnecting, and learning how to reconnect.
Yes.
I think COVID did a number on a lot of us, and so learning and relearning how to socialize again. Yes, let's put the phones away. Let's be face to face. Let's be in person. Let's reconnect. And here are multiple ways that you can do that in this nice, safe, comfortable, inviting situation. Another piece that I noticed too, kind of compared it to, like a sex club or something where it's loud, dark, anonymous, sweaty, all that kind of stuff. I think one of the things that you have as people check in, they have wristbands. Can you talk about that and what that's for?
Yeah, we didn't have these at our first event, and we asked for feedback from all the guys, and they were like, talking, what they said was talking about when they crossed into a sexual space, talking about what I want, because we are very focused on consent. So it's one thing to say, hey, I want to have fun with you, right? But they're like, I don't even know how to approach someone for the right thing. And that's kind of a grindery thing. So we kind of brought grinder into a wristband. So wristbands can say things like top or verse or bottom, but even like social, meaning like, I'm just here to enjoy and have fun. And we're not sticklers about any of this. Like, guys can put on every single wristband if they want. They can put on no social wristband. Top. They can put on no wristband. They can put on, right?
This one guy had a sleeve.
I want it all.
It's just, we do want people to be vulnerable, and we do want to encourage like how to have conversations, and at the same time making sure everyone's as comfortable as possible. And so, and it does kind of lead to fun conversations, right?
Absolutely.
I was talking to a couple guys at this last event, and one of them was like, oh, no one ever pays any attention to me. And I was like, well, your wristband would beg to differ, just as a joke, because his wristband said top on it. And he was like, well, what is that supposed to mean? I was like, well, because of the drought, the top drought. And so then, then we're giggling and laughing about it. And then that just leads to a different conversation, which, so then now we've connected, and he sent me a text a couple days later. He's a good friend now. So, it's just a way to bridge some of the vulnerability, but also have conversations.
Absolutely. Just all these little indicators to, like you said, spark conversation, to connect, having those, your social guys. It just pieces everything together, because it's so, disjointed. I think we can get so disjointed out there, not knowing how to articulate, what I like, what I want, and how to phrase that in a good way. Like you said, well, let's bring grinder to this. And how do we do that? Oh, let's do that through the wristbands, because it will, and it does spur conversation.
Yeah. I want to be reflective about something for a minute, because you just talked about the drought. Okay. Well, and I think it's interesting in my lifetime with, like, I think AOL had a Men for Men chat, right? And then what was after that? Manhunt.
Yeah.
Does anyone remember Manhunt?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
And then we go into Grinder and Scruff, and it used to be language that we used to this. I'm straight acting.
Yes.
Straight acting. Everyone was a top.
Everyone was a top.
Because there was some stigma attached to bottoming.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm glad that I've kind of lived long enough to kind of see this evolution, because now you can't find a top. Right? Like
Everybody's a bottom now.
Like people are really coming to enjoy the prostate and to own it, right?
Go them.
And there's this whole phenomena around daddies, and I don't remember that as a younger gay person. It's like once you hit 40, you're gone, and so it's kind of interesting. I see it as a more holistic evolution around our communal connections and appreciations for, like now, even in porn, bottoms are presented in a totally different light than they used to be.
For sure.
You know, and I think something like Morningwood is adding to that evolution. Like, let's own our sexuality, let's own our sex positivity, let's explore our kinks and our interests and our diversity as sexual beings.
Right.
Well, and that was part of why for the summer, it was like, we would tell guys caftans and big wide summer hats. And our whole thought was like, we have plenty of spaces where we can be mask for mask. I mean, we have plenty of those. So how do we allow for something that's different and allows guys to show up differently? And also it puts them in a different vulnerable state where now I have to say like, hey, am I comfortable in this? And if I'm not, why not? And that's okay.
Because so many other environments or parties similar to this, they're so ultra masculine, you know? They're wearing leather and everything else, which that is a fantasy that I love as well.
Yeah, sure.
But we wanted to offer a space where you can also embrace your feminine side, and it's okay.
I would even say embrace your childlike presence, because you're saying, you know, come in your PJs. You know, I'm seeing these beautiful bears. They're coming in there in their onesies.
Yes.
You know, and it's just yes, yay!
Well, because here in Utah we have fall and winter, so we need people to dress appropriately for that.
Like going into the winter, caftans will go away. Onesies, pajamas, robes,
gray
furs is what we're telling people, right?
I just love it.
So just because I want to create more conversation here, because I think people get the idea of Morningwood, and I think it's a very positive event, but I want you to maybe counsel me. I'll kind of represent some other voice here, because I know when I first went there, and of course the group that I went to, I think 165 people showed up.
It was very large,
right? So when I first got there, it was really easy to interact, engage. I was feeling really super comfortable. Even though, interesting enough, I didn't know a ton of people, I felt like I was getting to know people. And then I was at the buffet bar. And what I noticed about myself, and I do this in lots of environments, I started to notice where my personal edges were. Even though I like to think of myself as being sex positive, sex affirmative, I enjoy my sexuality, but I became really conscious of, I'm one of the older guys here. Am I being intrusive? Are people really interested? Just all those little shadow pieces that show up in that kind of an environment. And I have talked to a few people who have been kind of edged out. I think the environment, just standing back, and the reason why I think it's so important to talk about this is I feel like the container you've created is the right container for people who are willing to look at their own stuff. But how would you, what would be the counsel with someone like myself who might be feeling edged out or maybe marginalized? What would you say to those folks?
Well, what I think is interesting is that
you're the hairdresser. You got the therapeutic advice.
He's also a former therapist.
What I think is interesting is that it's not just you who's felt that. I felt that, and my husband and I had this conversation about the last Morningwood. He felt that and was like, I don't know what was different, and I didn't love this. And he was telling me all of his insecurities that came up, which haven't come up before. So one is everyone is going to feel these things, right? That's our human experience. And the important thing is what you're doing is to look at it and say, what are these things and why am I feeling this way? But what I tell guys a lot of the time, and what I do myself, is when I'm feeling that way, that's what I love, that we have this like social space, because I've removed myself into that space and kind of reset and said, okay, well, what am I really here for? I'm not going to Morningwood, and I tell guys not to come to Morningwood for a sex party, right? The goal is come and find connection in all these different ways. So if that means coming back into that social space and saying, hey, I'm going to sit here for a while and find someone to talk to and just build a connection, that's where I would start. But also, I mean, I love that. I would just say, come talk to me, come talk to Kevin, come. We want to sit with people where they're at and hear, hey, here's why I'm feeling this way, and not, I don't think it's my job to fix it, but at least hold space for it and say, hey, I understand what's happening, and I can see that point of view. And I think just holding space allows guys to go, I guess I am okay, because for the most part, guys are okay and in our space, and I think that's why I like that if I was just at a sex party, a circuit party, if I start feeling those edges, there's nothing for me to do about it but leave, right? And I feel like we've tried to create a space where there is something to do about it, which is come to this other space, come listen to, we had John playing music, come listen to John's music, come out and talk to our bartenders, come and sit with, this last event, I was sitting out on a swing chair with like 4 other chairs around me. Come sit and we'll just chat and have a good time until we can reset enough to, hey, are you okay? Great. Let's try and explore what we need to explore now. Mm-hmm. That's what I would tell people.
Because other parties that are focused only on sex is you walk in and you're expected to perform, like you're expected to participate. But with our party, it's like you have options. Mm-hmm. It's a pick your own adventure type of party, and anyone who wants to can cover their entire body with sweatpants and a hoodie. It's really comfortable. And but I can't tell you, I run the Instagram, and I can't tell you how many times guys reach out to me and say, I just don't know that my body will be accepted. I'm feeling insecure and things like that. And to be honest, I'm not a therapist. I don't know that I have great advice other than to invite them to do the work, reach out to a friend, seek out a therapist, talk about these things, be vulnerable, then also talk to us. I mean, if we're at the Morningwood party, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it, because we've all felt it. At some level, at some point or time in our lives, these insecurities come up, and especially in an environment like this where everyone brings their own psychology. Mm-hmm. It comes up in all of us.
Yeah. Well, I wonder. I hear you guys putting a lot of responsibility on yourselves, right? Come to us. I've seen you guys at the party. You're busy.
We're busy.
What would your counsel be? What would your counsel be to the participants? I mean, I think I get this when I look at the advertisement. I think, if I show up, I have this responsibility to have my own fun, but I also show up with some kind of expectation to be available, like to talk, to visit, to not just connect with those who are familiar, but to be open to connecting with others. How can you talk about that a little bit? Like, how do you prep people or coach them, if you will, about how to show up, or what expectations might be for all participants, not just those who might be edged out, but there's some guys there who looked very comfortable in those situations. What would your counsel be to them? Or what would your guidance or hope be for them?
So I have a lot of social anxiety, which I think all of our Morningwood guys would have a hard time even understanding that. But I looked at Kevin as we were going into our first event, and I said, hey, I can be on for 4 hours. So I would tell guys kind of the same thing, like, come prepared to be on. And what that means is open to whatever can happen, open to being outside of our comfort zone of talking to someone we don't know, open to just sitting in our space and feeling the vibe and joining. A lot of what people struggle with is joining, right? And so it's one thing, you're right, it is one thing to say, hey, we have responsibility, yes, but everyone has their own responsibility to come for 4 hours and say, hey, I'm going to be all in for 4 hours. And what that means is not I'm going to be all in and have all the sex. It means I'm going to be open to whatever presents itself. Because we do like some of that mystery. Some guys are like, I want to hear every detail of what's going to happen inside Morningwood. Kevin and I are not willing to talk about that because we don't know. Every event has been different than the last event. And I can't even explain why it's been different. It's just the guys who show up, the vibe that it is, it's always different. So come being open to the difference. Come being open to whatever is going to happen.
I would say, I would actually push the question back at you two, because this is the Mindfully Gay podcast.
Yes.
You two talk about this all the time. I actually reached out to you because I had so many guys coming to me and I didn't know how to answer their questions or to help them feel comfortable. I feel like our job is to create this space, this opportunity, and make it as welcoming and inclusive as possible. And we put in so many hours and care trying to do that. But at the end of the day, I cannot promise that you are going to have this amazing, life-altering sexual experience at the party, or that you're going to connect with 25 new friends. Like, I can't guarantee that. You know, there has to be a responsibility placed on each individual to get out of their comfort zone, to break down those barriers and be brave. Just get out there and do that. I would actually ask you two, like, is there now that you've been there, is there anything we can do to make it more inclusive, to make it men feel more welcomed and free to be themselves?
What I like that it sounds like it's evolving into this, is offering other situations and social events that are kind of these offshoots of Morningwood, you know, like the game night or, you know, a coffee clatch or something like that, where they can come and experience community and without that fear or anxiety around, oh, there's sex and we'll have to, you know, perform and participate in that. But here's something else that, oh, I can step into. So I like that. That's where it's going. The other thing is, I think you're nailing it. I really think you're suggesting to people who are, you know, questioning and wondering, will this be a good place for me to show up to? Because we deal with this with the retreats, right? It's like, you know, will I fit in? Will I be accepted? All of those things. And we just offer that invitation to show up as you are. Mm-hmm. Show up as you are, and really do know that probably 98% of the other guys are probably just as anxious as you are, and have the same questions that you do. And if you can just show up in that, that's fine. You don't have to leave that at the door. You really don't. You can show up with that. And because you might find that you're able to know how to manage that anxiety, or set it aside, or shift it in some way to help you maybe join in or have a conversation, or if not spark a conversation, at least, you know, be open to a conversation that someone starts with you. Be open to the experience. Mm-hmm. Be vulnerable, because it's okay. We're all the same in that fact. And I think you guys just saying, you know, what you said about yourselves just personally, just having ADHD or anxiety and things like that. And here you are hosting this huge event, and people on the outside might think, these guys anxious? What? They're putting on this grand party. How are they, you know, this? But I think just by divulging some personal feelings that you also have to manage and deal with when you're hosting an event, I think will help to open the door for folks who might be feeling the same way. It's like, oh, I can be anxious and still show up. I'm like, yeah.
Well, and say that, right? That's a fine conversation starter. Hey, you know, how are you? And you just say, I'm so anxious to be here. I have no idea what I've walked into. Great. The guy sitting next to you will either say, oh, me too. Mm-hmm. Oh, I was that way before. oh, let me talk to you more to help you get comfortable. Like other guys want to help we all want to help each other. We all want to support each other. Mm-hmm. I honestly feel like the guys that come to Morningwood they all just want to be, and they all just want others to be with them. So
I also find it incredibly hot when a man can share what he's really feeling.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm nervous. I don't feel, I'm scared. Mm-hmm. I find it endearing. I find it kind of adorable. And suddenly I'm like, oh, we have something to connect on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this.
Me too.
Yeah.
This weekend I'm hosting a small private retreat. And tonight, our kind of opening process is going to be this question: what do you want? You participate, you show up. Are you just showing up, or do you have some intention about what you want? And we have a culture that is very, especially here in Utah, our culture is very hesitant to claim what we want.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh no, what do you want?
I want to serve you.
I'll take what
I want to make you feel better.
Yeah.
No.
Right?
Depends on the day.
But the question is, what do you want? And what I hear in my office and what we hear through Mindfully Gay is that people are really hungry to be part of something, that they are looking for community, they're looking for connection. I think in that comes some source of validation. And I would argue, I've had some very beautiful men show up in my office and in the different processes that I do. And I can promise you that those pretty boys have just as many insecurities as everyone else. Mm-hmm. And so I think for me, maybe the premise that I would build is I'd be really curious about why people are showing up. What do you want? This event means what to you? Whether that's just sex or a connection or a community, what do you want? And then I'm going to have to, just like I said, I was edged out. I also was very deliberate in my mind that I needed to be conscious of that and to radically step into something different. I can't conveniently just adjust. Nope. I'm going to have to radically, revolutionarily move into a different space and try something different. And so that means I'm going to go shake your hand and introduce yourself and just take the opportunity to see if there's a connection,
right?
To see if there's a source of and what was really interesting to me, I didn't go there. I didn't wear like a Mindfully Gay t-shirt or anything, but people very quickly recognized us from the podcast and from our social media presence. And what encouraged me, I think you and I even talked about this, was, wow, a lot of those guys seem to be listening to us. A lot of these guys seem to be conscious that we're out there. And what I guess what I'm saying is, I recognize that I had more in common with people than I thought.
Yes.
And frequently we silo ourselves because we think we're unique and who will accept us. And so what I learned by taking some of that radical step forward was, wow, there are people who share very common things. There are guys who work out in the same way that I work out.
For sure.
There are guys who are interested in spirituality. There are guys who are looking for retreats. There are guys who have kids. I didn't know you had kids. I have a daughter. And that was the refreshing part. So I think, I don't know how you do this, but if I were talking to people individually and they were showing up, I would just, like, what are you looking for? Like, what's bringing you to this event? When you go home from this event, how do you want to be feeling?
Yeah. I think what you can do, just taking what you said there, Jerry, if people, I'm sure people are asking, so what happens at Morningwood, right? And you're like, oh gosh, do I have to go into a whole, description of what this is? And I know that's tiring. You don't want to have to do that because each time it's going to be different. I mean, you certainly have a framework of what it is.
And mystery is sexy and fun. That's part of it.
Absolutely. And so maybe just flip the question. If they're asking, so what happens at the party? you can flip it and say, what would you like to be?
Oh, that's a great
What
idea.
do you want to have
What do you
happen?
want to have happen?
That's a great idea.
What are you looking
What are
for?
you looking for?
Yeah.
And so that puts it back onto them, knowing that you've created a space that has these, this variety of opportunities, the choose your own adventure. And if they say, well, I just want to, meet some guys, and then you can probably highlight, oh, we have a wonderful patio space. The guys, sit around and they're, drinking and talking, listening to music, and couches and nice chairs. And yeah, there's something for you there.
Well, and what's interesting is we've talked to a few guys who want to come to our retreats, and we kind of ask that question, and we start having conversations saying, maybe the retreat isn't right for you right now, but this group might be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it's interesting in most cases, at least with our retreats, we did this thing where we had people do a video introduction of themselves that, take a minute and just introduce yourself to us so we understand, why are you coming to the retreat?
Yeah.
And it was interesting listening to what people were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, well, we're on the right vibe.
Yeah.
And you
I
share
don't
that
think
with
you can-
everyone
I
in
don't-
the group?
No,
Or
no,
just
no.
you?
No, just
Okay.
for us.
No, it was just for us so that we could tailor the retreat to their needs.
Yeah, that's
I see.
amazing.
And that might be impossible to do with 80 to 100 people, right? But I think you can certainly infuse that mentality or somehow incorporate it into, there's intention here. And can you find an alignment with that?
Yeah, well, and I like that turnaround because I'm thinking from the reverse side of it coming, we've sent out surveys to guys in the past, tell us what your thought was. And we've only had a handful of lower surveys, but what's interesting about the ones that are lower are, I didn't have sex with someone. I didn't walk away with three, not like you mean specific. I didn't walk away with 3 or more phone numbers. And those are things Kevin and I can do nothing about those things. So it's good to maybe start where you're coming from and say, yes, and what is your intention before you get here? Because if that's what your intention was after you left, of course you're disappointed. And in a way that, in our world that it should be this way, where consent is a thing and I can't tell you who's going to be there. I can't force someone to have sex with you or give you a phone number right. So giving guys the opportunity beforehand to say what's their intention kind of alleviates a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
You could probably put that on you because you have your little handbook, some questions, FAQs.
Yeah.
That might be just a little blurb you can kind of drop in there, like, what would you like to get out of this experience, so that people can kind of get into their mindset of, why am I going, and what
That's
do
a
I
good
want,
idea.
what do I need?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think people come in with expectations. And when we do that and the expectations aren't met,
Right.
we can feel disappointed.
Yeah. They're putting their responsibility on you. It's
On
like,
us.
are you going to serve me this because this is what I want?
And their criticism has nothing to do with the way the event is set up
No.
or organized. It's all about, I didn't get enough attention, so the party wasn't good enough. And I was like, I don't know how to help you.
Well, and I think you got to take yourself out of the equation of other people's satisfaction.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And my comment isn't about what's wrong.
Mhm.
There's a part of me, and I think this is what motivates us with Mindfully Gay, is we're trying to shift a cultural narrative.
Yeah.
Right. And that right now, that cultural narrative is very sex-centric, youth-centric, white-centric.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I think we need a cultural shift.
For sure.
That doesn't mean excluding something. It means broadening the conversation, broadening the process. And whether you put this information in your packet or not, I think the two of you holding that intention
Yes.
and letting that intention kind of guide your process will infuse itself into the community that shows up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And I love what you're saying about like you had to find that radical shift and like that's what we're asking guys to do, but that's if Kevin and I can hold that, like what's the radical shift that we can hold to say, here's the space, let's put that intention into it. I love that.
Yeah. And I think that's why I felt like it was important to have you guys here, why I liked what you're doing on social media. I thought these two have a vision of broadening the dialogue, of broadening the cultural narrative. And that's whatever happens at the parties, right, is a product of that. But I think we need to give voice to more processes in our community. And frankly, we have a lot of organizations in this valley and in this country that is focused on how to raise money, is focused on stereotypes, is focused on very narrow. I'm getting ready to do some consulting for some organizations. And my first level of criticism is you have no vision. Your vision is dependent on the 90s and early 2000s. It's 2025. It's a different political landscape. We have to be innovative in our magic. And I think that's what you guys are doing. Yeah. I think that's what we're doing. And I would like to see other people. One of the things we know is the podcast is reaching lots of communities. And we have our approach, but we're hoping that other communities are taking this vision and creating their own. Yeah. Through the dialogue.
Yeah. Well, and Kevin and I say that all the time when people say, can the party be this? Can you guys do that? Or it's like, this is what we're doing and we love it. And we want you to take whatever you think from us and do it. Like, go do that. Please expand on what we're doing. Yeah. We didn't recreate anything new. We're just doing something that already existed in our version of it and saying, here we go. And it's crazy because it is so radically different, but we didn't think it was. We were just we're throwing a little party,
Yeah, there's so many people who want to sit in the guidelines and be critics. But our magic as queer folks is we are the innovators. Yeah. And we create. We may not create babies, but we create ideas. We create vision. We create opportunities. And so people need to take what's in their heart and give it platform, give it a stage.
Yeah.
It's really pretty simple, but we kind of take a sheepish mentality. We want someone else to hurt us.
Right.
And that's so boring.
Well, and I would encourage people if they come to Morningwood and it's not quite their vibe, like go create your own.
Yes.
We just wanted another option that works for us, and
you didn't want to have to drive.
Oh, there's a lot of driving. There's so much work involved. But just go create other options. So there's more queer spaces out there for people to mingle, to get to connect.
When I was going through all the data, it was so crazy. I called Kevin and I was like, Kevin, we created a party for me. He's like, what? And I was like, I'm the median age. I'm the average age. I'm the demographic. We made a party. We said, what would I like? And we did it. And
I was like, of course we did. This is who we are. This is what we wanted. And it makes sense that we would attract like-minded individuals to our event.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense because that's coming from this truth, this authenticity, this your essence, your magic. This is, like you said, you created something for you.
Right? That was our first intention. Yeah. Honestly, when the current president was elected, I found myself being angry every day. And I thought, okay, I need a source of peace and I need a source of fun. I started bird watching, which made me age, I don't know, like 20 years. But I love it. And then I'm like, and then Morningwood was born. It was like, I need some fun with my community during a time of day where I can have fun.
Yes. He woke up one morning and said, this is it.
Well, and as a 43-year-old man, I still wake up hard as a rock. And so my body was obviously telling me something. Like,
it was a vision.
This is the vision, Jamie.
Inspired. The magic.
Exactly. Today we have a party. I love it. Well, I'm glad that you guys are here. We're John and I are always interested in getting other voices into this process because we want these conversations.
Yes.
And you see how well scripted we are.
Well, and Kevin and I share your guys' podcast with our guys when they come to us with things that we are like, that is not our space. I mean, there's a lot of space, like you said, there's a lot of spaces in the community.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times when guys come to us with stuff outside of Morningwood, but through Morningwood, that's not our space. So we're like, the Mindfully Gay podcast sounds like your space because you have some questions, or here's some gay therapists. You have some questions that are
It's
beyond
free therapy.
Beyond what we're doing. Yes.
Yeah, I would rather point men in your direction than to have to solve their problems. I'm not a professional in that.
And we love some of your podcast episodes are like right on what they're saying.
Exactly.
Like, listen to this one.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Point them to this podcast. It's great. So I thank you for creating this resource in our community.
Well, I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to the November event, which is right after my birthday.
Cool. We'll have to bring a cake.
There we go.
And
we brought a cake to my husband's birthday party at a Morningwood event, and he got so many spankings. He loved it.
Tell us again how people can find you.
You can go to Morningwood Party on Instagram. And we're in the process of creating a website, so that is coming soon.
That will be launched in November, and it might be Morningwood Party. We'll find out.
We're still trying to figure out the URL, but it's happening. So first, look for us on Instagram, Morningwood Party.
Very good, very good. Well, I think that's the end of our hour. Thank you so much, guys, for being a part of this. I love this collaboration. I love this journey that we are all on to bring our community together. And we want you to do the same with Mindfully Gay. Go to our website, mindfullygay.com. Follow us on Instagram. We're mindfully_gay. We're on TikTok.
yes, people love us on TikTok.
It's we're like new and excited about it. We're on TikTok.
We're not even on TikTok yet.
But we have some fun free social events so that we can continue that conversation. Another opportunity for people to get together, meet, socialize, etc., to connect, and to continue listening to the podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can also watch us on YouTube, so watch us there. Anything else, Jerry, we need to tell our wonderful listener out there?
No, I need to go to the bathroom, though.
So we better wrap this up. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Mindfully Gay podcast.
Thanks for joining us for this inspiring conversation with Landon and Kevin from Morningwood.
We hope it sparks something in you. Maybe a reminder that connection and community can take many forms, and all of them deserve to be celebrated.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and stories. Share them with us on Instagram at mindfully_gay and visit mindfullygay.com for updates on our upcoming free social events.
And if you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to rate and review the show. It helps others discover our mindful queer community.
Until next time, stay mindful, stay connected, and stay gay.